Hello, and welcome to a little different video. This time around, it's not gonna be figure review, it's not gonna be gameplay stuff. It's gonna be about me. Now, here's the deal. I got this idea from Smitten. I'm gonna give credit where credit is due. She's gonna turn 30 years this year. And guess what? I'm gonna turn 30 years in just a month. I'm old, so when I'm looking outside the window, it's like, damn. But anyway, the idea was, see, like I said, Smitten is doing her whole thing where she talks about her life, and I was like, that's a cool idea. With you going towards 30 is like a milestone. It's an achievement in in your life, and I was thinking about this, and I'm saying I don't want to talk about my life, my personal life, because quite frankly I don't think that's super interesting to you. I wouldn't think it's interesting because I've lived a pretty boring normal life, which is okay. Instead, I was going to talk about something that's very near and dear to me, something that I'm very passionate about, and something that is the main reason why I'm doing a YouTube and a Twitch, and you can see it there, and that's video games. And not only video games, but like, who is the real Payne? What is the entire gimmick about, the entire idea? How did it come together? And where did I come from? And what did I play? And what do I like? And you get to know me. That's basically the thing. And I want to tell you how I got right here 30 years of Payne. So before we even continue, I gotta warn you right away, I have a terrible track of time. So a lot of times I will be like, well, I was getting this console around this, and I'm gonna name like 3 years or something. Because I just don't remember these things when it happened. I do remember how it happened, and that's gonna be the story, but dates, I'm gonna try and get a little bit of give you an idea of when it happened. My brain is not good with numbers. I was always bad at math. That's one thing. So, how did I get started? Well, I mean, I was born July 2nd, 1986, right here in Luxembourg. Growing up, I was always a fan of video games, but here's the deal, and this is where the first story comes in. The early years, I was not allowed to have a console. Like, for example, let's say I think I started being interested in video games around 6 or 7. I don't think before. I mean, the first time I saw video games, I wanted to play them, and I wanted to play them more, but there was a hurdle. And it was, 1, my parents, and 2, me. The thing was this, I was a very fucking ragey kid. I would scream, I would yell, I get mad, I go fucking hell. I was 4 years old, so I didn't say fuck. Now, even now I swear a lot, but the thing is, back then I had a lot more trouble just keeping my emotions in check, let's say it like that. And that's when my parents came in, and they were like, you know what, you playing these video games, we hear you screaming, we hear you yelling, you're not gonna get any of that. And that wasn't really torture, but looking back, I can kind of see why. Although I can kind of still see, like, nah, come on, brah. And also it was, at least they were honest about it, and also it was like, oh, when you have console, your mom's not gonna be, we're not gonna get you away from the TV, your mom's not gonna be able to watch your shows anymore and whatnot. I mean, it's not like my mom sits in front of the TV all the time, but still. I still sat in front of the TV all the time, even though I didn't have a console, and I guess they thought it would get worse. I don't know. Whatever. Point is, I couldn't get a console. But my best friend had a Super Nintendo. I mean, my 2 best friends actually had a Super Nintendo. My cousin had a Super Nintendo, and my neighbors had an NES. So every chance I got, I went over there and we would just play video games. We would just play video games all the time. The only thing, and this is where it really starts. The only thing I was allowed back then was one of these. Yeah. You're wondering, like, some of you looking at this like, what the hell even is this? What is this giant brick? This giant gray brick? This, my friends, is a Game Boy. The very first fucking thing in handheld. Well, not the very first thing in handheld, but the real first video game console. I don't know. I'm not gonna continue that because somebody's gonna come out and be like, oh, 1982 or something in Japan happened. Ah. But I mean, before that, the only thing we kind of had like was this, and I actually went to look for all these old fucking things, crammed them out. A fucking Konami TMNT little handheld game, they were actually fucking shit. I don't know if you can see anything on the camera, but this is just like one screen with like, it was like very much old school arcade where you just had one screen and you're trying to beat a high score and that was it. And this is from 1989, so this is probably like, I probably got this one when I was 3 or 4 years old. I mean, it was created in 1989. I'm not saying I got it then, but like I said, dates. Anyway, I probably got the Game Boy when I was around 7 years old. I was thinking about it. I was not in kindergarten anymore, but I was like, it was very, very early. And I got a Game Boy, and that was like my first thing. And this is not actually the first one I got, because the first one I got had tons of scratches, and it was terrible. It looked like shit. And I got it from like some of my sister's friends. They were getting rid of theirs. And I had a fucking Game Boy with Super Mario Land, and that was it. Super Mario, at least I had a good game. At least I had a good game to start on. I always had a very great passion for video games, and the first time I saw it, I loved it. I couldn't play crap. I still remember vividly playing like Street Fighter 2, and playing Street Fighter 2 as a kid, as a 7, 8-year-old kid, without the internet. I don't know if you even had the instruction booklet still, or somebody just, I think my cousin just borrowed the game. I think he didn't even have it himself. So you would play like the game and it's like, how do you even do it? How do you throw a fireball? Now you're like, you're an idiot, how do you not know that? But back then, it was magical. I always used to play Blanca because the only thing I could do there was like, you know, mash the button and you get that was something you could figure out on your own. I couldn't figure out how to do quarter circle back then because I was too fucking stupid, and there just wasn't a thing like that. It didn't exist before. There was no fighting games that said like, that's how it's done. No, Street Fighter 2 said, that's how it's done. So, you know, I would usually play Blanca and we would just mash, and eventually every time or so there would be a fireball and we were like, what the fuck? How did this just happen? How did you do it? I don't know, I was just smashing. And you wouldn't know the names. You know, true facts, I was a stupid kid and I always thought Vega was a chick. Like, seriously. Yeah, like the high-pitched voice and yo and all that stuff, and a mask and the long hair, even though now I have long hair and I'm certainly not a girl. I don't think so. No, we're good. Alright, but, you know, I never realized that the dude was shirtless and he certainly didn't have boobs, but again, I was 7 years old and there was a bunch of pixels on screen, so, you know. I mean, it was Super Nintendo, so it was fairly detailed pixels, at least. But time passed on, and a lot of classics. I really loved Rock and Roll Racing and Lost Vikings. Those were cult classics of my childhood. The Micro Machine games, I don't remember if they were on Super Nintendo. I think they were on Super Nintendo. My cousin also got a PC later, where we used to play Micro Machines, and he even entered like create your own Micro Machine racetrack and car thing for a magazine. He never won, but anyway. He had like he had like some kind of spider car. That was cool. Anyway, I mean, time went on, and I played all the classics. Played all the classics at my friend's house, except for Super Metroid. I never played Super Metroid. Back then, since I've caught up. But another funny thing to me is like none of my friends never had a Mega Drive. I was completely out there in Nintendo land, and I didn't even know that Sega thing existed until I don't know, I was 8 or maybe 10 even. Somebody brought it up, like I've seen a Mega Drive, or I've seen it at a store, and I was like, what is that? That's not a Nintendo. Duh. And also maybe become a pretty huge stupid fanboy, but we'll get to that. We're still at the early years, and me just being about these things. Truth be told, I never played a lot of NES. I mean, by the time I got to be old enough, I'd say, to really appreciate these things, the Super Nintendo was out. Again, I was born in '86. Super Nintendo came out in '92. Like I said, I was about 7 years old when I started playing. So before that, I don't really remember much. I don't really remember seeing a lot of video games around. Again, I remember my neighbors having the NES, where I sometimes would go over. But before that, there was like the action figure phase, which never really stopped also. But back then we were just, you know, kids playing with action figures. Yay! And I don't even have any action figures right now to show you. I have these turtle shells. That's not even action figures, that's just a part of the turtles, which I fucking had in the unboxing video, whatever. We're not talking about the figures. I can make a figure, just nah, there's not really much to talk about the figures. My cousin at this point was moving on to PC, which I had a brief, little bit of we played a little bit of Command & Conquer, and he had like the first few Warcraft games. I really wasn't into PC back then, and not even now. I guess that really tells the story as well. Like the first time I saw a console, I was wowed. First time I played on PC was kind of like, huh, alright, I mean, this is okay. Apologies to PC fans, but it's just, you know, this is just me. I'm not trying to hate on PC, I'm just telling you why I'm a console dude. And like I said, how it already started with me not being fairly impressed with the PC. Sorry. But Warcraft is damn good. And Command & Conquer, I mean, I guess I didn't really have the patience as a kid. But the point is, at least I played some of the classics, and I'm saying, I'm really happy that I was able to play Warcraft and Command & Conquer, because these series now is like, it's crap. I don't like World of Warcraft and Command & Conquer. When was the last time you heard about that? And I remember the last one wasn't really good. What was it, like 5 or something? I don't know. Whatever. A new generation would arise. The Super Nintendo would go away, and in its place came the N64. And I was driven, I was motivated more than ever before, because it was 3D, it was a new generation. And I knew I had to go in. I had to like just rank it up, crank it up. I never stopped. I never stopped fighting for my right to play video games. And I knew then and there, when this goddamn thing came out, I had to get it. My friends all had it, and I'll go over to them just continuously, just like with the Super Nintendo. Just go over there and play the N64. I had to do it. I had to get it. I had to fight for my right to play. But that's next time. And, you know, a little bit more about what all of this is about. Why I have become the real Payne. What's the gimmick about? What's the mask about? In due time, friends. But for now, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed me rambling about my past. And I want to try to make at least one video a week to get everything in. Some might be longer, some might be shorter, but I have to get along in the timeline. And again, I'll be 30 in a month, and I want to have this done before the month. So I'm, you know, it might get a little, you might get a little more of me, and a little less of figure reviews. Figure reviews and gameplay stuff still coming. But for now, thank you for watching. to stay tuned and check back in for more gameplay stuff, figure reviews, and whatever I like. And me, apparently. Bye.